Hello everyone, this is Bogaty and you're watching Bible TV. Today I want to tell you one of my witness of what happened to me during the time of 2019, the first corona pandemic lockdown. Uh, the streets were shut, the shops were shut, and every people were inside their homes, every people were lonely, and there were isolated streets everywhere around the world because the international authorities had commanded every nations to shut down shops and to be inside the house as a quarantine. So I had a little bit of a difficulty during those times, but I would like to tell you the works of God that happened in my life and how he blessed me during the time of pandemic. Each and every time when there is some kind of disaster or some kind of catastrophe that hits the earth, that hits my nation, God has always looked after me and he has been faithful, and the promises that he has made in the Bible about taking care of us, taking care of the believers during the time of disasters has been fulfilled in my life. If you look at the book of Psalms 91, it has been mentioned that there will be famine, there will be disasters, there will be thunder, there will be many kind of catastrophic things happening around the world, but that will not come near into our houses. And that actually happened in my life, and many transformation also started coming into my life. Let me talk to you about the disaster even before pandemic, corona pandemic that happened around the world. There was 2015 earthquake that hit the nation of Nepal, and even during that time God was really faithful and he looked after me, he fed me, he fulfilled all my needs and desires. And every people during that time were inside their homes, they were not even coming out, and every working place was shut down. And for about 3 months, everything was not working well, and everything did not come into normalcy. So I got a new job. I was paid a huge amount of money, and my transportation fees, my food fees, everything was paid for me by that organization because that was my new job place. And I was glad that I got a new job, and I was able to have economic abundance even during the time of earthquake, mega earthquake that hit Nepal during that time. And during the pandemic in 2019, after 4 years of earthquake had hit Nepal, again there was a pandemic in the world. And in the beginning Nepal wasn't affected by pandemic, it wasn't affected by coronavirus. And because people and slowly the coronavirus, after it infected European nations, Italy, Russia, Australia, and later on it started hitting even the Indian subcontinent. And it was during that time the coronavirus started spreading through India in Nepal, because there were many people traveling from India to Nepal. Though China is situated in the north side of Nepal, and India in the south side of Nepal, the coronavirus is thought to be spreaded all the way from China in the beginning, but the coronavirus did not spread in Nepal for about 2 to 3 months, and people were safe during that time. But later on, coronavirus started emerging in Nepal also as well, and many people had started dying, and people were forced to stay inside the four corners of the room as a quarantine for about 1 month, 6 months, and for about 6 months, every people were in quarantine. And since I was a content creator, since I was a journalist, I had a privilege to travel from one place to another place by using a vehicle, because I had a camera, I was taking news, and I had certain kind of facilities during the time of risk as well. But I was running out of time, I was running out of economic abundance. I really did not know what I needed to do. And so it was during that time, like I was doing translation, I was working in one Christian organization. Suddenly, I did not have any salary in my bank. They were not paying any salary. So I prayed to God, and ultimately God started using my YouTube channel. And my Nepal YouTube channel started becoming viral. It started getting good analytics, and I started getting subscribers in my Nepali YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to my Nepali YouTube channel, it's named Church TV. If you just type Church TV, it will display in the YouTube's search engine. Whereas if you type Bible TV, it will not show you. It will take some time. After I monetize my channel, it will be much more easy to find out my Bible TV in YouTube search engine. But somehow my Church TV, you can find it very easily. And he started blessing me in that channel. But however, it was not monetized because of coronavirus pandemic, and monetization was delayed. So I waited for at least 1 or 2 months, and I requested one of my friend, and he used my passport, my citizenship card, and through it I received a pin, and then my channel was monetized. And that is how I was blessed during the coronavirus pandemic. And besides that, I also had a free food from one of my friend, because he was distributing free food to the needy, the people in the streets. And besides that, there were women and children, and also one of my friend, he coordinated with me, and we were providing food, shelter, some clothes to these needy people around our community. Soon one of my friend, he wanted me to work in his INGO as a media person, taking photographs and videos, because he was working with underprivileged children, socially backwarded children, poor children, for education project. So he took me into different places of Nepal, and I took videograph and photograph, and I made a content for him. I also wrote some important things for his organization. And for about 2 to 3 months I was working in his INGO. But when I returned back from his INGO, because his INGO is located in suburban areas of Kathmandu. Kathmandu is a capital city of Nepal, and he was outside the capital city of Nepal. He was having his office in suburban areas of Nepal. Now, Kathmandu is one of the most populated as well as polluted city in Nepal. And if you look at the data, Kathmandu is one of the polluted cities in the world because of exhaustion from the vehicles, because of the garbages, and mismanagement of the solid waste. And if you look at the sewage, you find the rivers are polluted, the streets are polluted, the household garbages are dumped everywhere. And Nepal is having one of the most polluted cities in the world, and that is Kathmandu metropolitan city, which is actually not a good news. But even during that time, when I returned back to Kathmandu from the suburban areas, something happened to me. I was staying in a hostel, but after some few days, I had this difficulty in breathing. I could not breathe well. It was happening frequently, but not very aggressively. So sometimes I was having trouble in breathing. So I thought to myself, I came to city from suburban areas. Suburban areas are very clean, and cities are very dirty. Cities are having dust. Cities are having smoke of vehicles. That's why I'm suffering from some kind of breathing problems. I used to think like that. Especially inside my room, I had this difficulty in breathing. I could not breathe well, and I had this suffocating experience while I was taking in the air. I really did not know what I should do. So I thought that it is due to lack of oxygen. It's due to lack of enough clean air, and that I had been suffering from this difficulty in breathing. Because in rural areas, I was having clean air. I was breathing in clean air. I did not have any difficulty in breathing. And all of a sudden, if I come into city areas, I may take some time to get, into the habit of adopting this new environment after a long time, after about 3 to 4 months. So I thought that I had an adopting problem, or so adapting problem of this environment. And I thought that for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then later on, when I asked about some of the people staying in that house, in that apartment, I found out that most of the people in that apartment were suffering from coronavirus. And I really did not know what I should do, because I was also suffering from some kind of symptoms of coronavirus. For example, people would say that we would have difficulty in breathing, and then we would have dry cough, and then we would not be able to taste our food. We would be odorless in our food, and all of the symptoms somehow was already experienced by me. So you can see that I had been eating food, but that food was not tasting well. It was tasting bitter, and I did not understand what was happening. I was also coughing, and I did not know why I was coughing. And for 2 to 3 weeks, these people did not, reveal to me about what was happening in that house. But suddenly one day, I found out that many people in that apartment were suffering from coronavirus, and I realized after that I had been infected from coronavirus that has been transmitted to me from these people around those who had already been infected. And these people were very careless. They did not even try to reveal to me that the house was already infected by coronavirus. And it was during that time that I knew that I had been infected with certain kind of disease, but I wasn't sure if I was infected with coronavirus. I had a doubt I had been infected with the coronavirus. So what I did was I started praying to God, and I rebuked every disease in that building. I rebuked every disease that was trying to attack me. And the disease that I doubted was that I may have been suffering from coronavirus. Maybe, I do not know, but I actually at that moment did not pray for myself as a coronavirus victim. I prayed for myself to be healed out of some kind of disease that I was suffering from, common cold, from odorless food, from breathing problem that I was having. So I was praying for the coronavirus to leave that building, to for the people to be healed in the name of Jesus Christ. And you know what? From the next day, I did not have any breathing problem. I did not, even face the problem in testing food. It was testing normal, and I stopped coughing and sneezing, and I was well again. And that's how God, I believe, He healed me. But even during that time, I did not discover that I had been, infected with the coronavirus. And as the time went by, as the days went by, as the months passed by, I really did not realize that I had suffered from coronavirus until one day I had met one of my friend. And this friend, he was just talking to me about coronavirus. And he said some symptoms of coronavirus, like, dry cough, and then sneezing, coughing, difficulty in breathing, and odorless food. Oh my God. And after that, I realized that I had been suffering from coronavirus, because this friend also had been infected with coronavirus, and he related to me some of the symptoms that he had suffered. And he said to me, I had also been infected with coronavirus. And after that, I was sure that I had been infected with coronavirus. And at the moment, I thanked God, and because He had healed me of this very, very dangerous disease that had been taking life of people around the world. Whole world had been struck with this coronavirus and pandemic, but God at that time, He healed me even without letting me know that I had suffered from coronavirus. So this is how God blessed me during the time of pandemic. He healed me out of disease. He healed me out of coronavirus. And whenever I went to check for PCR, they could not show any positive sign for PCR test, because I had no coronavirus in my body, and I was well. And later on, you know what, many kind of injections, many kind of boosters, they came into the market, and people started, injecting it in their body. Some people started testing Indian medicines, others started testing the Chinese ones, they started injecting the American boosters into the body. And during all these moments, God took care of me. None of the disease actually touched me. And God provided all of my needs. He was with me. Why I am telling you this is because if you are a believer, or if you are a new believer, or if you are not even a believer, if you don't believe in Christianity, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in Jehovah Jireh, if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, I'm telling you as an evidence of how God worked in my life, how He treated in my life. There are many witnesses in my life that I can give you, but these two witnesses are very important that I wanted to tell you how God looked after me during the time of disasters, natural disasters like earthquake and this pandemic and all of this coronavirus thing that was happening. And this is how God looked after me from first pandemic to second pandemic. There were first wave of pandemic and second wave of pandemic, and during the first wave of pandemic there was even infection of locust in India and some African countries, and locusts started swarming all the way from India to Nepal as well. And I could see locusts in the skies, but it did not do a lot of harm to Nepal. But some of the regions of Nepal were infected with famine because of locust. It devoured the crops into the lands. And there were some Nepalese, there were some Indians, there were some Africans who started eating these locusts because many believed that locusts were healthy for their life. And I also looked at in the book of Bible, and I found out that John the Baptist I was in the habit of consuming a wild locust with honey, and that's how John the Baptist was a prophet. That's how John the Baptist became strong, and he was also wearing a cloak of a camel skin. And during that moment, I also created some content relating to locust. I found out how locust is created, how locust change its environment, and it can fly from one place to another place.